Iran has issued one of its strongest warnings yet to America's Gulf allies, telling countries hosting U.S. forces to prepare for the consequences. The IRGC is signaling that the next phase of the conflict may not stop with American bases alone. As tensions escalate, Iran is drawing a new red line for Gulf states it believes are supporting Washington's military campaign. Iran has warned countries hosting U.S. military forces to prepare for what it calls a corresponding response. The warning was issued by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in a statement released on July 17, according to Tasnim news agency. IRGC's statement read, and I quote, "The countries that host the aggressors of the United States should be ready to receive a corresponding response." The location of the gathering of the aggressor forces in the support center of the ground forces in Arifjan and the radar of the American base of Ali al-Salem in Kuwait were destroyed. The U.S. regime that broke the agreement once again amid negotiations and the illusion of weakening Iran officially resumed the war that had never ended since the beginning of last week. But after a few days of war with the armed forces and receiving crushing responses to his aggressions and verifying that the Iranian armed forces have become much stronger since the first day of the war on February 28, instead of honorably accepting defeat and admitting to his miscalculation since the previous day, he took a new approach by running away from the battlefield face to face and tried to hide his failure in the military confrontation by engaging in war crimes and by destructive attacks on hospitals, bridges, railways, airports, ports, and telecommunication centers. Like that and the killing of civilians, he tried to maintain his position instead of fighting crime and cowardice. Since there is no international organization to prevent these barbarities of the American army, there is no other way than the Quranic commandment in front of us. Therefore, the host countries of the aggressors of the United States, who gave their land to the aggressors to attack Iran, should be ready to receive a corresponding response and activate their civil defense units to protect the lives of their citizens and keep them away from possible targets. Nevertheless, in order to give a chance to change this cowardly approach of the American enemy, last night we chose military targets to respond to the enemy. In the 18th wave of Operation Nasir II, the powerful fighters of the IRGC ground forces, with the blessed code Ya Abul Fazl al-Abbas, peace be upon him, targeted the location of the gathering of the aggressor forces in the support center of their ground forces in Arifjan, killed a number of them, and simultaneously destroyed it with a drone attack on the radar of the American base of Ali al-Salem in Kuwait. Ground forces fighters also destroyed a weapons maintenance shed and a drone hangar. Fighting like warriors continues. Unquote. The warning came after the IRGC claimed it had struck Camp Arifjan and Ali al-Salem airbase in Kuwait. Iran says the operation destroyed a radar system, a weapons maintenance facility, and a hangar allegedly linked to U.S. forces. The IRGC accused Washington of resuming military operations while negotiations were still underway. Tehran also urged Gulf governments to activate civil defense measures as the conflict enters a more dangerous phase. The warning appears aimed at increasing pressure on regional allies that continue to host or support U.S. military operations. Iran says it has launched another wave of retaliatory attacks as the conflict with the United States enters its 7th straight day. Tehran claims its latest missile and drone operations have expanded across multiple Gulf countries hosting U.S. forces. Iran says its naval forces carried out a major operation in the Strait of Hormuz targeting vessels it describes as violators. The Revolutionary Guard claims 4 vessels were stopped during a combined missile and drone operation. Tehran says its retaliatory campaign has expanded beyond the Gulf into the Indian Ocean. IRGC Navy statement read, and I quote, "In the past few hours, for violating vessels, with the support of the terrorist American army, intended to cross the Strait of Hormuz, but during a combined missile and drone operation, all 4 vessels were halted in their place." The IRGC Navy firmly declares that the owners of vessels, like the leaders of some southern Gulf countries, should not fall for the deception of the unfounded support from the terrorist U.S. Army, and should heed the warnings and declarations of the IRGC Navy. Unquote. Iran warned commercial shipping against cooperating with the U.S. military, saying such actions could make them targets. The U.S. military rejected Iran's claims, calling reports of attacks on oil tankers completely false. U.S. Central Command statement read, and I quote, "Claim, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, claims that 2 oil tankers have exploded in the Strait of Hormuz after hitting mines in the international waterway. Fact: like most IRGC claims, this is false, unquote. Iran says it has shot down another American MQ-9 Reaper drone during the latest phase of the conflict. According to Iranian media, the drone was intercepted over Bushehr using newly deployed air defense systems. Iran says the interception marks the first major operational success for its latest air defense network. Tehran says it targeted a U.S. drone facility in Bahrain as part of its latest retaliation. Interior Ministry of Bahrain statement read, and I quote, "The siren has been sounded. Citizens and residents are urged to remain calm and head to the nearest safe place," unquote. Iran claims one of its strikes destroyed an artificial intelligence center linked to U.S. military operations. Kuwaiti air defenses were activated as missiles and drones were reportedly intercepted overnight. Tehran says several American military positions inside Kuwait were among its latest targets. Iranian media claims critical infrastructure in Kuwait was affected during the latest strikes. Reports circulating in Iranian media claim multiple Kuwaiti soldiers were wounded during the attacks. Tehran says its drones simultaneously struck American facilities across both Jordan and Kuwait. IRGC statement read, and I quote, "In line with the resounding and impact-oriented response of the Islamic Republic of Iran Army in targeting the strategic assets, command and control centers, readiness infrastructures and defense systems of the American terrorist army, a few hours ago, the Army's destruction drones in the 14th phase of the Lightning operation, the ammunition depot of the American aggressor army in the Al-Adiri camp and the headquarters buildings and ammunition depots of this child-killing army in the Ali al-Salem base and several communication bridges in Kuwait targeted. Al-Adiri camp is one of the important support and reorganization centers of American forces, and Ali al-Salem base is also one of the largest support and coordination centers for American air operations in the Persian Gulf region. In continuation of these attacks, the fuel tanks of the aggressor army in Al-Azraq base in Jordan were also targeted by Army drone attacks. Jordan's Al-Azraq air base has become a vital base for the United States due to its location, infrastructure, and deployment of modern military equipment and major American investment, which plays a key role in controlling the region and military operations in West Asia. The Army of the Islamic Republic of Iran, emphasizing that it is the heir of the zeal and sacrifice of the great nation of Iran, warns any power that wishes to test the will of the Iranian nation will face the determination and readiness of the armed forces and the heroic people of this ancient land, unquote. Reports citing U.S. officials say American personnel were injured during recent attacks on bases in Jordan. The conflict has widened as Iran claims operations stretching from the Strait of Hormuz to Jordan. Iran says its latest campaign now covers multiple theaters across the Gulf. American military installations remain on alert following Iran's latest wave of strikes. The strategic waterway continues to sit at the center of the escalating confrontation.